Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host, Chantele Francis, here with Michelle and Matthew to talk about arguably the most boring episode of the season in the must-win era. Episode 16 of the challenge, season 40. Michelle, on a scale of 0 to 10, how boring was this episode? 0 being like a snooze fest.
A
Or 10 being a snooze
1.5,
fest.
a 1.5. But
Yeah.
also, can I just say that this proves the fact that regardless of the outcome of an episode, I can be so frustrated with the episode and annoyed at how slow it was and how many commercials there were, even though my favorite person did so well and I love it for him and I love his journey of the episode. I'm so happy for him. But everything else, I was just like, ugh, you know?
Boo, boo, boo. And Matthew, how are you doing today? How was this episode for you?
Well, I will say, I mean, I was equally as bored as I was last week's episode, so
Yeah.
I think I'm
pretty
bored this one.
pretty damn bored. Honestly, I've been bored for like 6 weeks now. I just think one, like the format just, I mean, we talked about it 2 days ago, but like I think the format really didn't help, and yeah, just like the waiting and like having a week off when like nothing was really happening, and then coming back and nothing really happens for 2 weeks, and now we're gonna take a few more weeks off for the holidays. It's like it's really kind of just lost a lot of momentum. Um,
So yeah,
yes.
what's with I thought the preview you were suggesting that was going to be after this episode, but it's going to be next week instead of an episode.
Well, I thought that we were gonna get a preview of All Stars 5 tonight or tomorrow, maybe. And then apparently next week, instead of an episode of season 40, they're doing like a hour long, like pre All Stars 5 special,
It's
which
like a
feels like
zero
horrible.
episode 0 or no or like
I don't know. I don't know because it's weird. Like, why would they do an episode 0 like a month before it starts or 2 months before it starts? So I really don't know. It's very confusing. And I mean, production makes a lot of like boneheaded decisions. And if they are actually doing this and making us wait another month to see the final of season 40, that would probably be the most boneheaded decision that they've made. Um, but I honestly like I have no explanation for the things that they're doing.
well, especially since they did their reunion like 2 months ago, and so like any sort of drama that like popping off and all that stuff with people in the Twitter and stuff like that's all fizzled out and done. Like nobody cares about the drama of like 9 months ago. It's pretty much inconsequential at this point. And so the fact that they're dragging it out till the new year is actually ridiculous.
And it's ridiculous that we continue to have 90-minute episodes for 60-minute content. Like, you literally just added commercials. You added
Like-
commercials. Like, don't tell me you didn't. Like, it's crazy. Every 5 seconds, there's another commercial.
I think the easiest solution, like it literally just makes too much sense, but production won't do it, is just have a man and a woman go home each week, like they were doing for the first half of the season. And then the season would be over by now. Like it would be ending now. We wouldn't have to wait through the holidays to end it. If they want to do the reunion in a month, sure, they can do that. But they could have saved like 3 or 4 episodes by just doing that. But instead, we're just getting these drawn out episodes where 30 minutes of the episode is just the elimination, where you can tell who's going to win after the first commercial break. But then they do 2 more commercial breaks. So it's just like with that time, just give us a double elimination.
Please, like just figure something else out for the extra month of content that you seem to need for your ad dollars or whatever. Because as Debu's saying here, 6 months of the challenge is overkill. I love the challenge, but I like it when it's entertaining.
Yeah.
Chocolate's here saying lots of Burger King ads. That's the one thing that we didn't get just because we're in Canada. So our ads were not Burger King, right? We didn't get any Burger King ads, I don't think.
I don't remember. Yeah, I wasn't really paying attention to the commercials.
I think I only saw like the only thing I saw about Burger King was the like actual content in the episode. But yeah, I didn't see anything outside of that.
So that's the one plus, I guess, of being in Canada. We didn't get overloaded with too many Burger King ads. Wait, Steve here is saying that IMDb has episode 17 on New Year's Day. Don't kill me.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. The next 3 weeks are just gonna be no episodes.
This is so silly. I mean, do you know what? To be honest, like I'm fine with it in the sense that like right now there's stuff going on and like I can do other things on a Wednesday, you know what I mean? But like I would have rather have been wrapping it up today.
I agree. Like the timing like wouldn't be great to air the episodes, but also like in 3 weeks and in a month,
No
like,
cares.
I mean, people already don't care, and like in a month, it's just going to be worse. So I heard that this season is getting the lowest ratings ever, which like there are a lot of factors in that, of course. I mean, number one factor being people just don't watch cable TV as much anymore. But the fact that like the season is not that engaging is another huge factor, because I do think the first episode was the highest rated episode in years, and then it's like steadily declined to the point where now it's doing worse than last season, where last season had no notable names on it. So it's just really not a good product right now.
Okay, I just have to just show you the comparison of how much people care to how much they don't care now, just with the numbers of views on the episode recaps that we've been doing. So, episode 0, we got about 4,000 views. Episode 1, the premiere, first half, we got 14,364. Episode 2, we got about 12,000. And then a steady decline all the way down until, I won't count this week because we only did it on Monday, but last week's, like the last episode that we did, we got 1,700. So it's just like gone down by like 10,000 views.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I mean, obviously there's a lot of like challenge content out there, but at the end of the day, like if the majority of fans are not happy with the season, that in turn means like they're not going to be like doing extracurricular to like listen to eight like 5 shows, even one show. Like I know me personally, like in a season that I'm enjoying, I might listen to like 4 or 5 podcasts a week about the challenge, and now I'm like listening to Bananas because he'll have a good guest on, and that's really kind of it.
That's the thing, because for me, like depending on the show I'm watching, there's usually one podcast. It's like, this is my number one, or this is the podcast I like to watch for this type of show or whatever. Like for Survivor, I only really listen to Tyson's. But like for the challenge, if it's like hyped, then yeah, I want to consume more and different types of things. But lately it's just, yeah, the interest isn't there.
Totally agree with you guys. Like I know when I'm not into a season by how much extra content that like, because I pretty much am scrolling through YouTube all day to see like, hey, what's on? Maybe I'll go onto Spotify to see if there's any pod that I want to listen to. But if I'm not even interested at all, that means the season is a dud for me. And I didn't even listen to Aviv on Bananas. Like,
yeah, I do think like something, and I don't want to. I mean, no offense to anyone that's like a fan of
sure, they might like it.
Challenge Mania, I'm gonna say. And I'm sure there are a lot of Challenge Mania fans out there, but I do find it kind of frustrating that like they have this big platform, and I like those guys. Like they're good at what they do, but I mean, like to like constantly like hear, I'll listen to them sometimes, like constantly hear them like hyping up this season as like the best season ever. It's like we know like nobody actually thinks that, and like I see like those guys on Twitter and stuff saying like, oh, this season is way better than last season because like all you need to do is look at the cast, and the cast alone makes it better than last season. And to me, like that is just not true, in my opinion, at least. Like I think there are so many factors that go into a good season, and
Absolutely.
a cast is definitely one of them. But if you have a great cast that isn't willing to entertain, then it doesn't matter how good the cast is. And if you have a cast of a bunch of nobodies like 39, which obviously I like, I found like those people, even though I have no emotional investment in any of them, they provided more than these legends provided here. And like even tonight, we saw like someone like Cara Maria, there's one elimination left before the final, and she's still volunteering to go into elimination or to be a target. And it's like, Cara, like, I was excited for you to come back, but if you're going to make the game more boring by not making people make decisions, which is what a lot of these OGs have been doing all season, then I like I was saying the other day, like I just don't need the OGs if they're not going to entertain us. Like how many I can't even remember how many times this season, like era one in particular, and then some people in era two and other eras as well, just volunteered to be a target. And to me, like that just sucks a lot of the fun out of the game. So again, like cast is important, but the cast has to entertain in order for it to matter at all.
So, what do we think about All Stars 5 being on MTV? Boo!
Obviously, we think that's a boo. Not like the cast and the fact that it's All Stars. You know, I'm still going to be seated, but yeah, we're going to lose some of the juice there.
Did we see Matthew's tweet about this issue? Well, Matthew is not happy about it. And basically, his tweet was illustrating that we're going to get a very toned down version of what will actually go on All Stars 5. No swearing, probably no fights. Everything will be watered down. Right, Matthew?
Yeah. I think like I was super excited about the cast because like there are those big personalities, Shane, Frank, Ashley, to name a few, Davon. But putting it on at MTV, like I fear that it's going to be like a similar edit where it's like very heavy on the challenges and it's going to be 30-minute eliminations and big like production dailies, and it's going to lean less into the crazy people like freaking out at each other. And that may happen, and I'm sure it will happen with this cast, but I worry we're just not going to see much of it, which does make me a little nervous. But I will remain optimistic.
Do they want everybody to cancel their Paramount Plus subscription? I'm just trying to understand what the rationale would be to be bringing it onto MTV, because not everybody gets MTV.
Like we were just starting to find this home with Paramount for what they're doing, and that was already hard to get people into it. And then people are making accounts. Like my sister is more like a later challenge fan, and she got a Paramount Plus account specifically to watch it. And now she's going to be like, what the hell? Like she's going to be upset and cancel her thing, which is frustrating because I borrow it, you know?
Sophie asked if we heard about season 41, saying that we might be getting a Battle of the Bloodlines too. I've not heard this at all. Matthew, anything about this?
I have not heard that, but I would not really love that. That's not my favorite theme, to get a bunch like that's like kind of fresh meaty, but it's like worse because it's
The
just
OGs
people that are yeah, and it's just like people that are already like super tied to one person. So there's not really like again like it doesn't incentivize partners from like working against each other. Like there's no infighting, which I kind of like. Like I like the turmoil of people having different interests.
Okay, Bloodline rumors are a lie, says Steve. All right.
All right.
Somebody says I'd rather that they do a home turf of new people in between 40 and All Stars 5 instead of 22 episodes. I'd take some home turfs of like all the people that we haven't seen in a while that's going to be on All Stars 5. I'd do that. I'd be into it. I think it'd be better than like 5 more episodes, 6 more episodes of this show. So strange.
It's so bizarre.
I just like I cannot fathom like what goes into their minds. Like they know that the viewership is low, and yet they add episodes and presumably add like budget. So I think like the sweet spot is just like make the season 12 to 15 episodes, and people are going to be happier. Like people are not going to lose interest. You don't have to worry about all these breaks in between the season for holidays and whatnot. And I just don't get like what their vision is.
Brittany, don't worry. Like, we're only just complaining because this episode and the last couple episodes have been really kind of boring. I still enjoy the season for the nostalgia factor of it. I do like seeing, even though they haven't been as entertaining as I'd hoped they'd be. I think the format has kind of lend into it not being as entertaining. It's allowing people to be able to volunteer and allowing people to be able to, not throw in their enemies. And so I think the format has a lot to go against me enjoying the season, but I do like the people that were on it, and it was nice to see all of them on my screen again. I wish that they had a better format so I could have really been amped about the season the whole time.
And there were definitely some like very exciting episodes in my opinion, like when Bananas was really going in against Tori and all that. Like there were some moments of like more dramatic stuff was going on. And there was more chaos and stuff like that. So like it's not like it was all painful or all negative, but like as a whole, and lately.
Yes, as Matthew would probably agree with, we lost a good amount of entertainment to episode 2.
Yeah, and I think to me that's the biggest like mark on the season, that the production thought it would be like a cool like big moment to have this like grand elimination where 8 people go home right off the bat. And what ended up happening was, because it was so skewed physically, they took like you said, Chantele, like I was excited to see a lot of these people. The issue was, of the 8 people that went home, like 6 or 7 of them were people I was really excited to see. And it just like it did not help the season. And then as things progressed and like drama, it started to be less and less drama. Then we're like solely reliant on essentially Bananas to create all the drama. And it was because so many people went home early. And even not even just the night of eliminations, but like Tony went home shortly after. I mean, CT doesn't really provide drama, but like he is like someone that people are watching for, and he went home early. It's just like, I think we lost a lot way too early. And in large part, it was because of that twist at the beginning, when, like, to my point, like all they really needed to do was just do double eliminations the whole
Every
season.
episode.
They wouldn't have had to do 8 people going home at once.
Agreed. Or do their purge like, an episode 8. At least then we'd have the opportunity just to grow with some of these people instead of just having 2 episodes with them. So we're just kind of just fluffing around because there's not actually that much to talk about during this episode. It could have been an email, it could have been a tweet, it could have been a tweet, because this episode didn't have that much going on. Jenny returns to the house. Woo! After her elimination win against Aviv, we hear Corey rambling off about him being a target again. Like, what did you expect, Tori? You're obviously going to be a target. Are you surprised, either of you, that Corey's upset that he's a target? Who else is she going to pick?
I don't think he was really upset, was he?
No, I don't think he's really upset, but he's always just commenting on like everybody's always doing him dirty, and this is the 3rd time that Jenny's thrown him in. It's like, well, then make better friends with her or make a deal with her. I don't know. Do something. Don't make her a target back. Something. They do keep on saying that people are sleeping on Derek, and so this visibility spike, I was worried in the beginning because
Me too.
I was like, yeah, they're starting to talk about Derek. This is the first time he's a target this whole season. He doesn't have a good elimination record. He hasn't been down in the sand yet. So as soon as everybody started saying his name, I was starting to get worried that it would have been his last time on the episode or on the season.
Yeah, I was scared for him.
I did think it was funny, though, when Corey was asking Jenny to look him in each of his daughter's eyes and apologize to his kids. I did think that was a little bit funny. And I thought that Jenny kind of took it on the chin a little bit, their kind of rivalry. But I think the reason why Jenny throws him in is because she's not like scared of him or worried about him. Like, he's not a threat to her. And he has never made any deal with her.
No,
Why do you think he hasn't done that
I don't think he thinks strategically.
I think
ever?
Corey's game, yeah. Well, Corey's game is like super interesting because he
It
always,
is.
like, for the most part, at least recently, kind of plays the same game where, like, he sticks in the middle and like doesn't really have allies. But like depending on the format, that can either work for you or against you. So we've seen him make a lot of finals in part because he kind of plays that like under the radar ish game. And he's very capable in eliminations if he does have to go in. But in a format like this where like the women are nominating 3 men every week and you're like people are constantly being nominated, it doesn't bode as well for him because nobody's has allegiance to him. So yeah, and he just doesn't try that because I think he's comfortable in the game that he plays, which I do think for the most part is a decent enough game. Like he's definitely like a better than average player,
Yeah.
but it's just like, yeah, this format was going to be tough for him. And I mean, 4 eliminations, like eventually you're going to lose one, or most people will.
Debbie says that's kind of Corey's shtick. No one has my back. I'm doing it for my kids. Blah blah. That's true. It's true. Everybody's doing him dirty. Everybody, yeah, it has been his shtick, and I guess since he started with his the Young Buck team, Young Bucks going against like Bananas and all those main factions. I guess he never learned how to pivot once he wasn't on the show with other Young Bucks. Like he just they don't have like all they have is their numbers like when they're all working together and the fact that they win eliminations, but that's kind of all that they have. They don't necessarily win that many dailies. They just win eliminations. Well, we get some more Derek talk. Cara telling Derek to keep it up, that he's doing so well. Michelle wants Derek to stay out of the arena. And I was like, oh gosh, it's a lot of Derek talk. Can't the editors be a little bit more discreet here with like who's going to be part of this episode? They have so much time to fill. They could talk about something else, I would think.
Whoever's editing is just, I don't know what they're doing, but they're not leading us in any interesting way.
I found like the most annoying part of the editing was during the daily, actually, because like, and I've noticed they do this a lot, actually, not just this episode, but they'll like the people that are important to the daily, they'll show their like full run, and then everyone else they like piece together. It's like, oh, here's like 5 people going at once. It's like, all right, so I guess we know those are the people in the middle, and the people you're showing us are either going to be at the top or the bottom. So it was like painfully obvious that Jordan was going to win, and then either Derek or Kylan was going to lose. And it's like, okay, Bananas is just in the middle, Corey's in the middle, I think it was Michelle is in the middle, Jenny's in the middle. So it's just like, okay, well, it's just very obvious. And I'm honestly, it's not even that big of a deal to me because I'd rather not have to sit through like the full dailies of everyone. But yeah, it just has gotten to be very obvious.
No, I definitely wrote that down about like the fact that, well, I know what's probably going to happen here from how they edited the daily. Haley agrees with you here. So true. If someone doesn't win, they are in the montage. Yeah, win or lose.
Yeah, if they don't win or don't lose, yeah.
So Sophie wants to know if we expected this top 9 when the season started. Half of them.
A bit, like a mixture for sure. Definitely
like,
Tori,
Bananas,
Jordan, Rachel, Jordan. They'll make sense to me.
Highland, even a little bit.
Yeah.
The one person I'm most surprised about is Michelle. I thought Michelle was going to be in a lot of trouble this season, and I mean, Michelle won 3 eliminations, right? So I guess she was in some trouble, but
yeah,
I did not think Michelle would make it this far.
Me neither.
Yeah. Michelle, even Derek, I mean, his social game has been pretty good, but it's pretty impressive that he actually hasn't had to go down in the sand at least one time. And so, or now I guess he had his one time, but up until now, yeah, I think that both of those are pretty surprising, but yeah, I'm proud of them. I think that as much as Michelle annoys me, I think that it's a pretty awesome feat to get to the end with this caliber of cast. So good on Michelle. I don't think that she has a chance to win the final, like not even like a hair. But I'm proud of her for getting there.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised about Cara honestly making it this far because like coming into the season, I just thought Cara has way too many enemies. She was obviously off the show because of those enemies in part. So obviously she's made nice with most of the people that she was enemies with. But if I were to have to guess before the season started, I would have thought Cara would have been targeted a lot. And Cara has only been in the elimination in the first night. So she's surprisingly managed to stay pretty safe.
Oh, I remember when like it was between her and Kellyanne. Like those were like when I still loved everybody on the cast, and it was like just not like another season repeated. Yeah, I agree, Haley. I do want to see Michelle run the final. I think that she does deserve it in the sense that she does put in a lot of work. I don't necessarily enjoy her content, but like she works hard to be there, and I do think that she deserves to give the final a run. She should have gotten there last season, and she kind of just missed it by falling off that. It was a spinning one, right? Where she had to like that spinning log type thing. Yeah. So okay, so before we get to the daily, the Angels are talking and they want to make sure that Johnny doesn't come last. Obviously, they're hoping that Kylan comes in last. I kind of wanted to see what would happen if Kylan came in last. Like, I would have loved for Jordan to lose or Kylan to lose, and just like, yeah, if Jordan would have been the most interesting. Go ahead.
To be honest, like that was my mindset going into it as well. But after seeing the elimination, like they all would have beat Corey anyways. So I'm kind of happy like Derek got that moment at least.
Yeah.
Because like
you're right.
Watching Kylan beat Corey, which he definitely would have in that elimination, just like would not have been that fulfilling to me.
Yeah. And the only thing I would have preferred is if Kylan had lost and then Jordan got thrown in because he also didn't win. That would have been
sick.
Awesome to see. So, and I think Kylan could have potentially beat Jordan, although I'm sure Jordan would be very close. So that would be interesting. But happy for Derek that he got a moment to shine.
Absolutely, especially since Corey's more winningest in eliminations. He's been undefeated this season up until then, and so it's nice that he's. So what is Derek now 1-1?
I think he might be 1-2.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many seasons has Derek?
Oh yeah, it must be 1 and 2. It has to be 1 and 2.
He's lost at least twice.
No,
like
yeah, he's got to be more than that actually. Sorry, I think he's 1-4.
Yeah,
because he lost in All Stars 2 against Nehemiah, and then he did. Is this his third or fourth main season?
He went.
No, that was All Stars.
Oh right, you're right. 3.
No, he did do the elimination.
Okay, Derek is 1-4, says Steve.
Yeah, 1-4.
I mean, I'm happy though that just get him out of that like Josh and Jasmine, Tyree like era, like or 2-4. This is his first elimination win, I believe. So yeah, I think it's 1-4.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Willie's saying 2-4. Wait, where did he win before? Well, anyways, happy that he won against Corey because definitely the cinder blocks were very heavy, and so there was a strong physical element to it, and so the fact that he was able to be smart, Danny, like Austin, Danny, is it Austin?
Maybe
like Danny from
I don't remember
West's season. That Danny. BB here says like 1-4 according to Wiki. The one with Rob. Who's Rob? Rivals 2. Who's Rob?
Oh, that's Marie's ex, like the redhead guy.
Oh, I don't remember him right now.
St. Thomas.
Oh, it's because they beat Tyree. Yeah, that makes sense.
Dunbar. Yeah, we're gonna have to go on this rewatch and.
Oh my God, Tyree and Dunbar had to be together on a team.
I almost remember it, but I don't. Like literally 15 years ago. All right, Burger King is a sponsor. Woo! Bananas is going to get a 30-second penalty. Basically, they're going to have to do this kind of puzzle where they have to start the car. This thing is called Fire Plunger. Once they solve this puzzle, then they're going to speed off a cliff. I don't know if they sped off a cliff, but drive off a cliff and then swim 500 meters. TJ was saying that this challenge, they've been waiting for somewhere to be able to do this challenge, and finally Vietnam was a place that they could do it. Is that a lie? Was that a line? Like, because it was kind of whack, no?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we get like similar stuff quite often.
Yeah, I'm sure it's like an idea they had, but I don't know if it's as epic as he was trying to make it seem.
Now, did they just, how long did it take to reset? Pulling the car out of the water, like drying it off, whatever. I don't know what you have to do, but I don't know.
That's what I was thinking too. I wonder if they just had like multiple fake cars, and maybe they just reset it quicker. Although when it ended, it did look like it was dark, right? So
I feel like no matter what, they always take 10 years in between each person when they have most dailies, and it's always like a 14-hour day. Like it always ends up looking so dark by the end of the time of the challenge.
Very true. I mean, it was cool, the challenge, I guess, but I guess the fact that we had to see it however many times over and over and over again, plus the montage, I was just like, it was just boring. And like you said, Matthew, it's not that entertaining watching people hot wire the car by process of elimination, moving one wire to the bottom and just checking to see where it fits. Like, that's not really a puzzle, is it? Do you have a different definition of puzzle?
Yeah, I mean, like the way that I look
at a puzzle to me.
The way that I look at it, like a daily like this, is if there wasn't a car there, like everyone would think that daily was horrible. But like the fact that there's just like an object there, like if they just like jumped into the water and then swam and it was like put plugs into a hole and then swim, like everyone would be like, well, this is really boring. But then like they put like this flashy thing, which the car, which is their method of getting into the water, and then it's like, oh yeah, this is really cool, and like yeah, it looks cool, so like that's smart. But to me, like everything around the car was just like kind of whatever.
Yeah, I guess it does amp it up a little bit to make it a little more entertaining. But we can't tell what they're doing, so it's that part just falls flat for me, the hot wiring situation. It might have been more interesting if maybe there was on a board and they had to figure this out and then jump in the car and take it off the cliff. Like maybe that would work. But then too many logistics, maybe, I don't know. But I couldn't see them moving these tiny little wires, and it didn't look like they were going that fast off the cliff. And so it was all just, I guess they probably made this challenge for Burger King because their guests kept being like flame broiled, flame, hot rod car. It's like, I think they made it for Burger King. And I don't know why they need to have Burger King in Vietnam. Couldn't they have something that was maybe Vietnam-esque? That would have been interesting too. So Jordan says, do it faster. That's what's running in his head over and over and over again. We see him do his entire run. And so Matthew, was it confirmed? I know you were already decided when we saw the preview that Jordan was going to win, but after he did his run, was it confirmed for you that he was going to win?
Yeah, I mean, the clip that I saw in the preview was like Derek talking about Jordan, and he was like, yeah, like I know I'm not winning this, so I just have to not come last. And like they were watching Jordan, and it's like, okay, like it looks like this is right in Jordan's wheelhouse. And then after seeing him do it, I'm like, it's gonna be really tough to beat this guy.
Very. Rachel is second. And then we have Cara commenting on Rachel's puzzle ability. And I just was like, who is Cara to talk about being good or bad at puzzles here? I think she took it back at the end because it looked like Rachel got the puzzle. But I thought it was a little rich Cara, who has known to lose a lot of dailies, a lot of finals because of her challenge ability. Including coming back as a mercenary.
Yeah.
Were you offended for Rachel, Michelle?
No, because I thought it was kind of, I don't know, because then Rachel got like super offended over Cara like not trying hard enough at swimming. And like, listen, the fact that Cara volunteered herself to be a target and whatever, like, I'm not a fan of that. But like, her not swimming faster or seemingly making a mockery of it, like, she's just not a fast swimmer. It wasn't like she was purposely trying to swim slowly and that she doesn't care. And also, it's her game, and you should be happy if she's not trying hard because she's a hard competitor who could beat you in the end. So you should
Maybe
be
it's
happy about
because
it.
she
Like, what?
wanted to see how she measures up against Cara better. I don't know. Actually, Matthew, maybe you have an insight. Why do you think that Rachel was so annoyed by the fact that Cara wasn't trying her hardest in the swimming part?
I have no idea. Maybe yeah, I feel like Rachel probably is just like that kind of person where it's like everyone like needs to give it their all. Like she's like very old school like that. And it's like maybe like she views it as like disrespectful to the game if you're not trying your hardest. Rachel does seem like that kind of person.
Yeah.
Yes, she did win vendettas with the puzzle, but who was she going up against?
Zach.
Zach
And
and
no one who is like good at puzzles.
Yeah, it was Zach, Kayla, and Kyle, I think. So nobody like
Yeah.
that great with puzzles.
So Derek wants to be the first individual gay guy to win the challenge. That would be pretty cool. Cara, we already talked about it, but Rachel was shocked by her lack of competitive spirit. Womp womp. We see the montage next. And then Michelle says that she could beat most of the girls in the water. So I was impressed by that, that she's quite strong in the water and she didn't seem to be winded like most other people were.
Mm-hmm.
Go, Michelle. So Corey really needs Banana to lose and Tori to win. Especially because Bananas has this 30-second penalty. So yeah, why did Bananas only get a 30-second penalty here? But then, like, it was a 2-minute penalty for the tunnel one. So unmatched.
I suppose this one was a bit of a
Short
faster
distance?
challenge, but
Yeah.
also, yeah, I mean, I think they just arbitrarily decide, and if it can help Bananas a little bit, then they'll certainly think about doing it.
Yeah, go ahead.
But to Steve's point there, I actually think Michelle is someone that could be sneaky good in a final. That's my kind of bold prediction here. I think if she avoids coming in last next week, she is not going to like she's not going to get walked over in the final. I think like she's good at random things. Like she'll be good with puzzles. Like if they're swimming, I mean, she was on Survivor. Like I'm sure she can eat gross shit. So I do think Michelle is probably, and I mean, Michelle's been good at eliminations, but in finals where it tends to be less physical, I actually think Michelle could do decently well.
It's the endurance part though that I worry about for Michelle. I feel like she might gas out.
Like, I feel like she would not gas out as quickly as Jenny will necessarily at this point, but like she'd gas out quicker than Rachel or quicker than Tori, probably.
Yeah.
But I agree with
Obviously it depends.
Matthew. I don't
If
think
it's
she's
like a
going to
heavy
do
endurance,
horribly. Yeah.
yeah. If it's like if it's like race up a mountain, like yeah, I don't think Michelle would have much of a shot. But finals don't typically. That's not typically how they go. Like usually they are very like checkpoint heavy. There is usually a swimming element. It looked like in the preview that there was definitely like some water elements. So I think Michelle could do actually pretty well.
But if there is like a one-on-one, elimination in there, balls in or something like that they've done in more recent seasons, I don't know if she'll be
Yeah,
able to beat
that
any of
would
the
be
women.
that would be her issue for sure. I mean, obviously, like physically, she's like without a doubt the weakest one there. And like to be fair, like the women that are left besides her are like some of the strongest women ever on the show. So that would not be good. But I could see her like holding her own in the other stuff for sure.
Yeah.
Haley says that the daily that Michelle got heat stroke on, she was actually on pace with Tori.
And I think didn't Michelle win like 2 or 3 dailies with Jay when they were partnered on 38?
Probably.
Yeah, they did pretty well, and they were a force to be reckoned with. And I'm pretty sure one of the ones they won was more endurance based, but I may be misremembering.
BBG here says Michelle has had a hard time doing any kind of obstacle course challenge on Survivor. Jenny is still a challenge champion, so I definitely bet on her to finish ahead of Michelle. I will agree. Like, I do think I agree with you, Matthew, that, Michelle might surprise us in a final because she's a little more well-rounded. But I kind of think that Jenny is going to outperform her just from having the experience alone of running a couple of them. So I do think that she might be outmatched in that way. So yeah, Corey took forever with the puzzle, just plugging these things in. I'm like, commercial? You need a commercial break from him doing a puzzle, plugging things in? I was just furious with all the commercial breaks and the timings of it. I was like, why? Who cares? And then I'm like, okay, why are we seeing all of Tori's? Why are we seeing all of Corey's? And for the reasons that you already stated, Matthew, because they're going to win and lose. No shocker there. So the flame grilled hot rod is flying off a cliff, and we learned that the winners of this daily are Tori and Jordan, and they each get $5,000 and a feast from.
Oh, I didn't even hear that part. I didn't hear that they got $5,000.
Yeah, from Burger
damn.
King. They're flame grilled hot rod flying off a cliff.
Yeah, I think I might have missed that because as this was happening, I already had my phone out and I was tweeting saying that Jordan and Bananas officially just made the finals on this season, and Jordan is going to be the only person to not see an elimination, which good for him, but embarrassing for the rest of the cast.
So embarrassing.
Yeah, he just secured that, and him and Bananas are going to be running a final again.
And for the men to not have made it an absolute priority from day one to actually whatever they need to do to try to manipulate certain women, have alliances, whatever they need to do to get him have the most opportunities to have to go in, that's on them. That is terrible because he didn't win every week, but he had so many connections. But I don't know. It's a tough thing because he also had so many exes that were so loyal to him. So obviously there's a lot of factors involved and whatever, but man, so what a boring season for Jordan.
And Bananas was in power one week when Jordan was a target, and he threw Derek in against Horacio when Jordan could have lost to Horacio easily. Yeah. And then obviously dating back all the way to the first episode, Corey had the power. And I know we've been talking about this all season, but Corey had the power to put Jordan in, and Tori might have said no to it, but Corey also could have said hey, I'm going to pick the men, you pick the women. If you want to put Amanda in, which Tori obviously did, I'm going to choose the man. And he could have tried to make a push for that, but he didn't try. And then Jordan ends up beating him. Jordan will likely end up beating Bananas. And I mean, Jordan could have lost a physical elimination against Leroy for sure. A balls in against Leroy would have been close. And a elimination against Horacio.
Yeah, he lost the balls in against Horacio, right? Or a similar balls in. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was 2 chances in the first 4 weeks where they could have taken shots at Jordan, and no one took those shots. And then it got to the second portion of the game, and then it was already done because no woman has any incentive to put him in, and he's never going to come in last in a daily. So I know Bananas did that because of Laurel, but that was his opportunity to try to get Laurel to do something different.
But we didn't think that the format was going to change where it was going to be impossible for Bananas to target him again. So in that, if we're looking at what they were maybe thinking, what is this, week 3, week 4? Okay, let's chill out. We don't need to go after Jordan yet. We'll have another chance down the road. And they just never got another chance really down the road.
But it's when we think about after Bananas had won so many seasons, right? And then he went on that streak of losing and losing. And it was he won so much that people were okay, we cannot deny that we can't not make our main priority to get him out. as soon as possible. Same with like Wes and other situations. So there's been multiple times in the past where it was like people were throwing bananas in first, second, even though it was like, you don't need to do it that early, but they were doing it because they were like, we need to, because if he wins, we keep throwing him in. And it used to kind of be that way, which sometimes would annoy a viewer. But at the same time, with someone like Jordan, it's like, he's not bringing drama anymore. He's so well-rounded. He's so good at everything. Like, you should be making it your priority on day one to throw him in. Like, how many times do you have to learn this lesson? How many more times is he going to have to make it and do so well?
Yeah, and then on top of that, it's also like the last season Bananas did win. He threw Jordan in early against Fessy when he had the chance to get Jordan out. And if he didn't do that, there's a very good chance that Jordan makes the final and beats Bananas again. So you have to take shots at someone like Jordan early. It's honestly a necessity. And like, yes, like Laurel might not have done it, but Bananas needed to push there. And like the longer you wait, the harder it is. And
I
obviously,
mean, this
like,
is
they didn't
lesson
know.
learned. I don't think that they're going to allow this to happen again.
I don't know about
If
that.
you don't think? You don't think that
I mean,
Bananas will be like, I don't care, like, if he loses to him, being like, I don't care, I'm not losing to him again. Like, let's get him out right away. Like, he's not helpful for my game. Like, you don't think he might just do that for the
well, the
game?
problem is like people need to be doing that to Bananas as well.
And that's probably
That's
why
what makes
he's
it
not
tricky.
targeting Jordan, right?
Yes, but
A little bit of a
I do
shield.
think you're right though, in the sense that like Banana saw this season that he actually was targeted multiple times when Jordan wasn't. So maybe Bananas will think like I'm going to be targeted anyways, so I need to get the big threats out. I hope that's the case because I just don't like everyone banding together and sticking it through to the end. It's not fun gameplay, and I don't think it's good gameplay either.
Jorge wants to have been watching House of Villains. Absolutely. And yes, it is very entertaining.
I'm not totally caught up. I'm like an ep or two behind, but yes, I have been enjoying it. I'm waiting till I have time off to like catch up.
Apparently, Jordan's taking a break after 40, which means
Good.
he probably won. Like, you don't take a break after you win. Isn't Tori taking a break as well? So maybe she won too.
I think a lot of people said that. I never really trust a lot of people when they say it though, because I mean, like when they end up calling in 3 months, and it's like, oh yeah, you know what? I will just go. Like Casey said it. I think Devin said it too. I do
Leroy.
believe Jordan a little more. Yeah,
Leroy, who's been
They
on
all
3
say it.
seasons since he quit. Like
And
literally.
not made it past well, I guess he made it kind of far in All Stars, but not a great showing though. Super Duperman says here,
yeah.
do we think if it was men who chose men and women who chose women for eliminations that there would be
Yes.
more drama, more cutthroat? Yes.
Oh yeah. It would be the season would have been way more entertaining if that was the case. Because
Yeah.
like to Banana's credit, like Bananas wanted Jordan out. He just couldn't do anything. So if Bananas like had more power, then like if when Bananas won an elimination, let's say he could nominate men, or if you win like if Kylan won a daily and he had a chance to throw Jordan in, that might have been better, but
Kylan probably wouldn't have done it though because he wants to go to the final against the best. So, womp womp.
Yeah, maybe.
You know how he is. Yeah, I definitely think it would be more cutthroat if like the people that you don't want in the game are someone that you can actually target. Rachel's annoyed that Tori won. Is it just because Rachel's used to being top dog and Tori's just like eking out all these wins ahead of her, especially since she thought that she was going to win this one?
Yep. Rachel just doesn't like being the number one female competitor on the show because she was for so much and by such a huge amount. And here's Tori, who isn't necessarily a pro athlete or anything, but has just gotten so good. And she's so efficient and fearless and like gets better and better. I mean, listen, yeah, I get why she's feeling that way.
So the losers are Cara and Derek. And because Derek was a target, there was going to be no chamber, so it's just going to be Derek versus Corey because Jordan was the other target and he won the daily. So I was like, okay, so is there only going to be an hour left in this of this episode? Because if there's no chamber, like there's really nothing.
No,
much
instead we
to-
took 40 minutes to do nothing.
Nothing.
Have a scene where a nice, beautiful scene of Derek where he's talking about his sister.
Yep.
And then
and how it would have been
Corey-
his sister's birthday. Which is like was kind of sweet, and I was like, okay, please don't be bringing up this content, and then he goes home again, like around, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I
I got a little scared. And then then you have Cheyenne trolling Corey, being like, "You better come home with something." And I was like, "Wow, that'll be really funny if
Yeah,
he loses."
she's like, "How are you still here?"
I thought that was funny.
You better not be here a month and a half and come home a challenge loser.
I love Cheyenne. So
yeah.
Cheyenne was the best part of the
funny.
episode, in my opinion. She was more entertaining than most of the cast this season.
She actually was.
I'd love to see Cheyenne come back.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, she's probably making too much money on that Teen Mom money. I feel like they make more money. Well, Corey has said,
yeah, she doesn't need to do the challenge. Like, why is she going to put herself through that? But we love her.
Be partners with Derek or Devin again. Before the Skype call happened, we see those Burger King burgers looked dry. Like I don't know, because they were, you know, Tina was describing them beforehand, being like, oh, these delicious burgers, flame broiled, and these crisp fries. And then I see the product placement, and they looked awful. They did not look good at all. They did not look like Burger King at all. I thought it was poor product placement if they're trying to make an ad here.
Yeah,
no problem. Derek does owe Jenny a favor, so she thinks, and she tries to go and ask Derek if she can maybe redeem that favor of her not throwing him in, and he just flat out says like no, like not at all. He was not going to be doing that, and I thought it was. I mean, good for you, Jenny, for giving it a try, but you know, he's better friends with both Cara and Michelle than you, so I just didn't expect it.
Yeah.
Michelle gives Cara a pep talk. Michelle's been giving a lot of pep talks lately. But mindset. Every episode, she's giving people a pep talk, it seems. Twice this episode. All the boys are talking about running the final, and Bananas is trying to get into Kylan's head a little bit. Just talking about how like the final is terrible, and like but the final actually is kind of shitty, and I think that he was kind of also telling the truth, no?
Yeah, I'm sure it always feels horrible. So but you know, he's trying to emphasize it a little bit and scare him. But I don't think it would make much of a difference for someone like Kylan.
Derek, we see him talking to Tori, Michelle, and Cara about his sister once again, and I just wrote down, I'm like, please win Derek, please. I was really wanted him to win, just with this content. The fact that the challenge was the elimination was going to be happening on his sister's birthday. I was just like, don't be giving me all this content for him to go home on his sister's
exactly.
birthday.
I was ready to rage. I
was so nervous because I actually thought for sure he was going to lose. Because this was also before we got like Corey's phone home. And Derek was just getting so much emotional content. And I was thinking like, wait, if like he's getting this much emotional content, like if he were to win, why wouldn't they just give this to us like during the final for 2 weeks about him like running the final for his family, for his sister. So I kept thinking like, oh, this is going to be the end for Derek. And we had been getting some more like physical eliminations recently, and I was nervous they were going to do like the last male elimination, bringing back Hall Brawl, and I was like, oh, poor Derek, like Corey's going to crush him. So I was really nervous with the content we were getting for sure.
We do get what do they call it? PSA from Derek saying, use Ask to Help if you have anybody that might be suffering from, I guess, depression here, or if you need help in any sort of way and you don't have maybe anybody you can turn to. So I did appreciate that they placed that within the episode, since there was a lot of content about his sister and her passing. And then I went, oh boy, Corey Skype call. I'm like, so does that mean that Derek wins on his sister's birthday? So that's what I wrote down there. And I was like, I was like excited about the Cheyenne clowning him, all that stuff. So I was getting happier at this moment. And then we see Derek getting a Skype call. I'm like, oh, they're just trying to fool us here. Now that Derek gets a Skype call with his brother. But I still was kind of going back to like, no, I just don't think that they would lay out the content like this if he was going to go home on his sister's birthday. I think they would have just laid out the material a little bit differently. Then I wrote down, I'm like, 25 minutes for the arena? I'm like, oh my gosh. So they're going to be playing closing time. You have to start turning a wheel, which opens a gate. You have to slide underneath the gate, grab cinder blocks that have puzzle pieces. It's going to be 2 rows of 24 cinder blocks that complete a puzzle. And basically, Derek was putting on a clinic, says T-Joy, about how to do this elimination, where he was smart about it. He was picking up pieces in puzzle order and placing it down, and then also not allowing Corey to see what the finished product would look like. And so Corey was just being all brute strength and bringing as many blocks over with no rhyme or reason. And they weren't allowed to start organizing the puzzle pieces in the sand until they had all 48 onto the platform. And so, I mean, Derek did put on a clinic. He killed it in comparison to Corey. Like, it was embarrassing.
I was so happy for him. So happy for him. The only joy I felt.
I also thought, I thought this was a really good elimination too, because it did have everything. Like these are the kind of eliminations I love, where there is like anyone can win, and there's like a mix of endurance, puzzles, and strength. So Corey obviously has an advantage with moving the cinder blocks, but if you're just using your brute strength and not your brains, like you're not going to win. So this one was like very even. And honestly, like on paper, like Corey actually has a little bit of an advantage. And if he played smarter, like he obviously should be a slightly favored, but it's not like that big of an advantage that like you can't overcome it. So I thought this was a really good final male elimination.
Absolutely. And the fact that both of them, like, one was strength and one was puzzle, and so like they both had a disadvantage and an advantage. And I thought that was what was great about it, is that, you know, if Corey picked up the pace, maybe he could have gotten it done faster using more of his strength, but Derek did it. He was able to pull through. Like Oro here, I was so proud of Derek. I knew that there was a chance that he would win if there was a puzzle, and he won against Corey, which was absolutely awesome. And I thought it was just so smart that he was hiding the pieces on the other side so that Corey couldn't see it, because if Corey could see it, he might be able to pick up the pace, like I'm saying, and then maybe put it together a lot more quickly. But he wasn't good at this puzzle. He was like asking, like, does it say that, does the 40 go on the top or the bottom? And it's like, you know, you should be able to tell what it's most likely going to look like. The banner has looked like this the whole time. Like, get a clue. But he had no clue.
Yeah. And to Banana's points in one of his confessionals, like, these are the kind of challenges where it's very hard to come back if you make a mistake. Because like these cinder blocks are so heavy, even if you have one mistake or your things are placed out of order, like it takes so much energy to fix that mistake that you kind of already screwed. So Corey really just had no shot here once he started off that poorly.
Yeah, but you know what though? This is just going to be ingrained in my brain if I'm ever doing a cinder block thing, is just build from the bottom, the pieces just one at a time. Just do it.
Yeah.
Take as long as you need, but just like bring in the bottom pieces first and just bring it by layers.
I feel like for Bananas, he was like, wow, this is what I should have done.
And I would have won.
They hands down, they would have won. They had such an advantage, and I'll never not be upset about that, because it obviously, like, Devin and Tori, congrats on their win, but like Devin is less likable now, and I think his ego got too high after winning.
Mm-hmm. Bloody Mary, this is for you, I think. Matthew. Amanda is somewhere trolling Corey just to lose to Derek Chavez. I mean, Derek is no slouch at all, but I think that Corey expected to be able to beat Derek here. And it's lovely that it didn't happen.
Yeah,
right.
I agree, but I think Corey did handle losing pretty well to his credit. Like he was like, he gave Derek his credit before the elimination and after. He left with his head held high. And as much as I am unhappy with how the beginning of Corey's game went.
You're back on the Corey train now that he lost?
Yeah, I'm just like, I think he played pretty well. Like, I do feel for him. Like, going into 4 eliminations is not fun. And I will say, like, I do think some of it is potentially his own doing, but he played a pretty good game. And I think leaving with your head held high, even after losing to someone you probably thought you were going to beat, is that's like, it's a good way to go out. So overall, I'm like pretty happy with Corey entering like whatever his next season will be.
Daffy's trolling you now, Matthew. Show of hands if you've seen Amanda make a final. Show of hands if you see Amanda being entertaining.
Woo!
Yeah, I mean, is it a coincidence that the ratings for this season have gone downhill every episode, except the 2 that Amanda was there? So
that's true.
She might not make finals, but while she's there, she's making TV, and that's more than a lot of people can say. So yeah, I mean, if you're watching this show because you think it's a sport, I recommend, if you're in Canada, turn on channel 502 and you can watch the Golden State Warriors against the Houston Rockets, because that is a sport.
I will not be changing the channel to that. So TJ says that his strategy was perfect, which it was. It was pretty awesome. And for the targets, it's going to be Jenny, Rachel, and we see Cara volunteering in a flashback. And I'm like, I was really excited to see what he would actually do. I really wanted to see. And it might have been the same way. He might have gone for Cara, but like, I wanted to see him say it without her giving him the go ahead. So I was very disappointed in that. And then there's going to be a location change. That's it.
Yep.
That was the episode. And we talked for a half an hour about other stuff. Could you tell where they were going?
No.
He said somewhere less green. So yeah, it looked cool. The preview looked cool. It looks like, yeah, there's like some sort of like nighttime water challenge, which looked pretty awesome. I wonder if that's like an overnight thing in the finals. And I'm hoping that next week is part 1 of the finals, and it's not
next year, you mean?
Sorry, next episode. And it's part 1 of the finals, and it's not like the whole episode leading up to the elimination. Like, I hope the first like 30 minutes is the like travel to the new place, do the daily, do the elimination, start the final, and then the final ends the week after that. I really I'm hoping it's not 3 more episodes, and it's and then 2 episodes at least.
And then 2 reunions. Ugh. So 5 episodes. So into February. That's such barf.
Yeah.
Wait, does it? Yeah, everything starts to start again in the end of January. Why are we still watching the challenge? So in the preview, W says that Tori is talking about alliances in the trailer. Ma'am, you're part of the vacay. That's annoyed everyone. Yeah, I am interested to see with all this call out that's happening at that big dinner table vibe. Because like, face it, Tori, your alliance was ruling the first half of the season. That's just how it was.
Yeah.
Anyways, who's our MVP? Do we have one?
Derek.
Yeah, just Derek, or do we have any more? Tori.
Yeah, for the women, I guess it kind of have to be Tori.
Yeah.
I think Tori's won 4 of 7 dailies.
Yeah.
So that's, obviously impressive. She kept herself from being a target next week, and she should be in the finals as well. Because Tori doesn't really ever come in last either, similar to Jordan. So I don't know. Who do you think now? Like, Cara has a disadvantage.
I think Cara might be gone.
But who's she
Just
going to
with
go
her
against?
not having her
Jenny?
heart in it. Say again?
You think she'll go against Jenny or who's the other option again? Rachel. Oh, Jenny or Rachel would be tough.
I hope it's against Rachel, just because that'll be more drama.
Epic, yeah.
Michelle could always come in last too, though, depending on what.
That's true.
But just with Takara having that penalty, and it seems like she's lost her like edge this season. I think maybe Cara might just go. Like she fell on her sword. She allowed herself to be put in as a target when she could have maybe said, I've known you for longer, Derek. Like, don't put me in. Michelle, you just met her on this season. It's just, and she could have kept herself out of it, I think. So she doesn't seem like she wants it bad enough. Right, exactly what Dab was saying here. Yeah. Well, that's it, guys.
Maybe,
anything else?
Honestly, maybe Cara is like motivated by Laurel being there. That I honestly think that could be it. And once Laurel left, like maybe Cara did lose some of her like drive to win. Because I do think Laurel says this a lot, and I do think there is some truth to it. I do think Cara really wants to beat Laurel, and that's something she's never done. So I could see like her maybe losing a bit of motivation once Laurel got purged out.
Interesting, because a lot of her challenge experience has had Laurel be a part of it as like, her antagonist, or like just like a lot of her experiences anyways. So that could make sense that she just doesn't really need it, want it as much without having Laurel there. Huh. Yeah. Oh, well, Jolie's saying that I think their fight took a lot out of both of them. That's probably true too. Anyways, anything else left to say before
This season has gotten my
next
fight
year?
out of it. I've lost my fight on the season.
I know.
I think I'm
Wake me up
gonna.
when it's over.
If there's no challenge for 3 weeks, I might have to start this rewatch a little early
Sooner?
because, I think I'm gonna do that. So I'll still be watching some challenge. Just obviously not gonna be watching 40 for the next little while.
Unless you guys wanted, what do you know when All Stars 5 is supposed to air?
Probably March, I would guess.
Oh, because I was like going to say maybe we'll do a draft, but it's too early. Too early. Okay, well, that's it then. Thanks for hanging out and talking about this snooze fest. Thanks everybody in the chat for hanging out with us, even though this episode wasn't the most entertaining, but we will be back in the new year, and maybe we'll figure out some content within the next couple of weeks as well, depending on what they give us. So maybe we'll do like a quick recap if they're giving us a meet the cast type vibe. If it's interesting, we'll see what happens. But other than that, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Ding. Like this video, and I don't know, let us know what you want to do maybe in this off time. So for the next 3 weeks or so. Did you say something? Say what? Nothing. Okay, bye. Bye.
Bye.